We are out here at the Common Ground Cafe in Freshwater Creek, located nice and close to Torquay. This venue is unreal.
Really nice.
Yeah.
It's also such a nice day.
It's such a glorious day. The sun's shining.
Have you been to this venue before?
I actually haven't. I've heard really good things. We were just doing some research on it. So it is a not-for-profit community cafe. They grow all of their local produce. It's a farm-to-table situation.
Cool.
They host events such as today, where they have a pretty spectacular event, which is the reason we're here, hosted by Sofar Sounds, who were the organisers of our show last week.
And our live podcast.
That's before we go into what we're doing today. Do you want to touch on last Sunday and talk about how it all went and how you feel about the performances and everything?
100%.
Yeah.
It was one of my... So this is the new material event that we did at the Great Ocean Road Gin Distillery last Sunday, I think it was.
Last Sunday, yeah.
It was your first ever solo set.
Yeah.
Sam Shalou did a set, and then you and I hosted a live podcast, and we shared new material basically with each other and with the audience. You were really nervous leading up to it. And
I was terrified.
Your nerves sort of subsided on the day.
On the day, I was so chill.
So chill.
Yeah.
Mine was the opposite. I was really not nervous coming into it.
Yeah.
And then on the day, I started to get quite nervous before it.
Yeah.
Because I feel playing to a big room is one thing, and there's a lot of pressure there. But playing to a smaller room where it's really intimate, and a gig like that where nobody really was talking, everyone was really engaged, and that in itself is quite a daunting experience. So I feel like for your first solo show, it was a really daunting one. Yeah,
it was pretty intense. It was. I'm so happy with how it all went.
You played really well.
Oh, thank you, Boise. Well. So did you, and so did Sam. The whole thing was just so smooth. The audience was engaged. We had questions. We had lots of laughs. Everyone's songs were beyond what I expected them to be. I think we all played really well.
It also struck me the uniqueness of that particular event. Because we've done so far before, and we'll probably will again, and it's always fun. But that sort of showcase of songwriting and stuff just happened to come at a time where we weren't gigging with Savage Honey. We were writing lots of new material, and it just all fell into place. And it struck me at the time as this probably won't happen again. You know?
Totally. It's such a rare style of gig to play, and I think we have Rach to thank. For a lot of that as well. She's so encouraging, loved the idea, and just loves getting behind these sort of odd, unique versions of shows.
100%. And super she's a wonderful event organizer and really great with ideas and concepts, but also super encouraging for the artists to take the reins a little bit and pitch ideas.
Totally.
Sort of make it their own show. And she's always been, every time I've worked with her, she's always been the exact same. Yeah. Also, just an amazing communicator. She's also 7 months pregnant, and she plays in fucking 4 rock bands. She's got a solo career. She works for Oxygen Music as a teacher.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's just killing it.
She's killing it. She's also
get her out here.
Works with this. We will get her on eventually. Yeah. Works with this project called. Amplify, which used to be called Freezer, which is Sofar and Freezer / Amplify putting on this show here. Yeah. And it's a really cool, it's a government funded initiative that sort of...
It's like a grant based thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And they work with the individual shires to work with committee members who are youth between the ages of, I think, 15 and 25. Yeah. And they come up with 6 gigs a year to put on from inception, of the concept to the running of the show, which they're currently inside doing right now. Yeah. It's really, really cool. It's really encouraging for younger musicians coming up. And
it's fantastic. I think it's such a good thing to experience as a young musician as well, is playing a live show independent from something that your school might put on, and just learning about coming to sound check, how to set up all your gear. There's so much involved with playing a gig.
How to book a show, how to approach a venue, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's such a you don't really learn about that stuff typically at school. So it's just such like a kickstart to a career in music.
For sure. And irons out a lot of those like where do we start things, you know, at the beginning. You know, you're pretty clued in, and you're also start to get networked as well within the community. So it's definitely really positive. And I'm really excited to hear them too. Like there's 3 bands playing. Do you want to move on from last week, or do you want to stay on it for a bit longer?
Well, let's keep talking about, there was some up last week, I think, because how
did you find it? What was your takeaways?
It was so rewarding, I think. Having as a muso, vulnerability obviously will come up in live shows and things, and it just felt so uplifting to sing songs that are so vulnerable to a crowd of people who are just there to back you and support you. And so for me, that was really, really incredible. So thank you to everyone who came out to support us and to support that show and to support live music. That to me is the biggest reward out of this entire thing, is like the connection that you have with the audience, the people that are listening. So it was really unique and special. It was obviously the heavy parts of it. There were hilarious parts, but I think it really helped me mentally and, you know, almost spiritually in a way. I think it really benefited me. I walked out of there just glowing.
Which is huge. Like that's like
makes it worth it.
100%.
It was really incredible. It was pretty hard. I got really tired afterwards because I think showing that vulnerability to such a large group of people just ended up being so exhausting. But yeah, and the other thing that I got from it was excitement to get our band going again, because I was like, these songs need to be backed by, you know, a band.
Yeah, for sure.
And we got great feedback on all the songs, so I think it
100%.
Really cool.
The feedback was excellent on everyone's performance. I think everyone, like, it's particularly you, I was hearing lots of really great things about you, because I think
that's nice.
You were so open about, like, as you say, not a singer or not rating your own voice and things like that, and like everyone was just like blown away by like some of the actual vocal performances that you put forward.
Oh, that's nice.
As well as like your songs, which I knew would go down really, really well. One piece of feedback that I got from the audience, which was when we asked questions of the audience, everyone said we needed to just wait a little bit longer because people were still thinking of questions, and then we would move on.
Okay.
Which I think is good feedback, because from our point of view, it just felt like an eternity.
Silence,
But from their point of view, they might have had a question that was either like waiting to get the courage to say it, or was just trying to think up a question on the spot. So that was something. That's
that we could really good feedback, and I wish we'd done that. It was so funny though when you're like, so anyone has any questions about this? Now's the time, and then 5 seconds of. Anyway,
let's move on. Or Sugar Ray would be like, "Now I've got one thing to say." Thank you, Sugar Ray, for your involvement and for bringing your whole family down. It was so nice to have everyone in that room, and I felt like, it was just rad just to be playing original music again, and from a different sort of angle, from a completely different like perspective as we had done previously. New songs that I got like really great feedback on that like I may have like been sitting on for a while, or may have just written, and like that gives you the encouragement to like keep with them, you know.
100%, man. And all the songs you played it got me so excited. I was like, I can't wait to, you know, get a band together and really like give them some, just to back them. And we were talking about that as well. Like if you have a song that sounds epic when it's acoustic, it's going to be huge. Or if you add layers to that, it's going to make it, it's just going to amplify what is already at its core.
For sure.
A fantastic track.
John Mayer has a really good like piece on that where he talks about songwriting.
You should get him on the pod to tell us about it.
And actually, I've sort of organised...
Without further ado...
Mr. John Mayer!
Mr. John Mayer!
But he says, you know, like, looping and, you know, getting into production before the idea of the song is fully formed, really good way to waste time, because like if you can't like if the song doesn't exist in essence with an acoustic guitar and no production, it's unlikely that you can polish that and still be really good.
You can't polish a turd, dude.
You can't polish a turd.
No, you can try.
You can try. That's how my uncle died. Oh no, sorry Stonesy, I know you're not really dead. I'm Richard.
Oh god. Yeah, it's great advice from John. I can't wait to talk to him about it.
He actually called me this morning. He was like, dude, I've got some advice.
You got to get me on the pod.
I'm like, John, just pump
back off, man. Stop.
Just relax.
We'll have you on one day.
Your body's a wonderland. All right, we get it.
We get it. You're hot. You're a hot topic.
You think you're all out in a bag of chips, John?
Yeah. So anyway, last week was great. Moving on to today, everyone should really stick around to the end of this episode because
Declan's going to take his clothes off.
Declan's going to do an interpretive dance with his shirt off. Yeah.
You're beautiful. No, I did that last week. This week it's Wise Men. I'll give you a rundown of those ones.
Going to play that for you. But we do have a really special guest today. He's at the forefront of the Australian indie folk scene. We're very lucky to be given the chance to have a chat with this particular artist and to be at this event, which is, a really, really special evening that's planned ahead. So we're going to be chatting to...
It's in the title of the Spotify thing.
Pointless.
You're never going to guess. It's Didirri. But I do echo the sentiment that you just said. We are super lucky to be here and to have some of his time. And to be welcomed. There's sound checking now for Sofar Sound's gig at Common Ground, and we've been invited just to have a little chat when he gets a moment, and we're going to try our best to stay out of everyone's way until that point.
Yeah. So stick around to the end. We'll have a good chat with him. We'll talk about the gig. We might get a chance to talk to some of the other performing artists. And it's going to be a really fun episode. The other thing that I think we need to talk about is this, the intense competitiveness that has grown between us and how that is going to come to fruition, which we...
There's only one way to settle it, my boy.
Yeah.
A race around the world.
A race around the world in 80 days.
Yeah.
So we are planning to host a 5K fun run event. It'll be a charitable event, mainly so Jake and I can race each other and see who really is the alpha dog
so
here.
that I can beat Dom. I swear on my life.
I'm going to smoke you, my boy.
If you beat me, I will retire. I will retire from music and podcasting forever. I will sign the deed to my house over to Jamie.
You're just saying that so that I let you win now? Because you know that I want you to be a part of this.
Under no circumstances are you to let me win. Yeah. I don't care if I dislocate my knee.
Yeah.
Or like... I will beat you in this fun run.
No, you're not going to. Cool. And it's going to be the most satisfying win of my life.
If I have to cheat or
I will cheat. I will kneecap you in order to win this
I will set up a series of assaults on your course.
Gonna get some ninjas. Gonna chase you around.
I really, really do want to beat you.
Yeah, I know.
That is true.
Yeah.
But please tell us more about the 5K because I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So the idea of this event, it's my idea.
It wasn't his idea. Not for a moment. Was it his idea? Completely my idea.
We both had the idea separately. But the idea of this is to have a 5K charitable event to raise money for Lifeline. I came in pretty red hot to a meeting today.
In classic Dom fashion.
Thinking that we would be able to book out the Torquay Common, have 10,000 people come, host a line of bands, followed after we all run 5Ks together. But my lovely work colleagues pointed out that might be punching a little bit too high this early on.
But we love the enthusiasm.
Love the enthusiasm.
As always, Dom is always number one with overexcitement and enthusiasm. But it is good, and usually I'm on board with you as well, but it is good that we've got people around us just to go like...
To rein us in a little bit.
Let's be a little bit more realistic. Yeah. But we are still going to host the event, and we are going to still book bands and have a party and have a fun run. We need
Will Thirroul in semi-pro to promote this.
We're going streaking through the quad.
Flip Michigan Mega Bowl. Flip Michigan Mega Bowl.
Isn't that semi-pro?
That's what I said.
Oh, I was thinking old school.
Old school, yeah.
I thought you were like, snip a loop. You can bring your green hat. There's more coming.
There's more coming.
Honey, do you think KFC is still open? This episode proudly brought to you by Colonel's Fried Chicken.
Yeah. But yeah, so the event. We are going to have a community-based 5K run. You'll be able to purchase a ticket It will allow you, this is all in the works still, but allow you access to join the 5K. And then we're going to organise a series of live bands. We'll get food trucks. We'll have an entire event based around Torquay somewhere. Aiming for potentially May next year is the idea at the moment.
It's the working date.
It's the working date. But we're going to keep you guys updated over the coming months.
All proceeds will go to
Lifeline. Yeah.
Which is a organisation very close to Dom's heart, and some organisation that you've had experiences with recently that we've already spoken about on the pod. So that was the charity that was a no-brainer for you, and I back that 100%. They do amazing work. So.
Hell yeah. And it's going to be based around suicide prevention and bringing more awareness around the topic of mental health. I think it's really fantastic how much it has grown as how much more aware people are of this in the past decade. And I think it's such a wonderful thing to contribute to. Around 3,000 Australians take their own life every year. And I think that on the front lines of that battle is Lifeline, the charity. So we're going to try and raise a bunch of money. Jake and I are going to race each other. We'll have bands playing, music, food. It's going to be a really fantastic experience.
It will.
And we'll keep you guys updated with where this plan is going to go. And we're going to work really, really hard to make sure that it's a day that we'll all remember and to raise as much money as we can. So watch this space and make sure that you get amongst this 5K run. If you want to leave a little comment on who you think's going to win this race, I'd be really curious to see.
I'll give you a little tip. I'm going to fucking win it.
Look at his stubby little legs.
I think these little fucking hooves can run pretty quick.
They are quick trotters, that's for sure.
Trotters.
You're like a little truffle pig.
This little truffle pig is going to fuck your day up.
It's a truffle hog.
Truffle hog.
Truffle hog. Engaged.
I'm going to get a jetpack.
You're going to get distracted by all the truffles.
I don't know what's going to happen other than I'm going to beat you.
It's going to be crazy.
Maybe we should do take bets on who's going to win out of me and you.
And all the money.
And post our progress, and then all the proceeds go to the charity.
Get a drone to just follow you.
Yes.
We can just
You'll need 2 drones because I'll be 2Ks in front of him.
I hope it's
I'll be lapping him.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
If you guys have any ideas to contribute towards how we can raise money for this 5K, please comment, email us, whatever you reckon. We'll get the crowd involved.
Or DM us. Or also if you're a business owner or somebody that wants to sponsor or have maybe some production equipment or anything that you think might be helpful for us, please reach out as soon as possible so that we can lock you in as this starts to get more and more real. Because it is going to happen, but we're very much in the infancy stage of the organising so far.
And we already have such a wonderful team behind us as well. We have Simone and Declan are getting involved. The whole point of this is to bring people together. So we're going to be taking help from as many people as we can. Please get in touch and let's make something really special. Let's save some lives and let's bring more awareness around mental health.
How cool would it be if we legitimately was able to save a life by doing this?
It could happen, man. That's literally what will happen.
Amazing prospect.
It really is. So I'm really excited about it. I want to get it up and running as soon as we can. And also I'm going to get so fit and I'm going to smoke you around that trail.
It's not going to happen, but you'll see for yourself. You'll see. Yeah. I'm going to start posting my weekly runs, my Strava runs on the Independent Idiot story.
I'm going to post nothing because I don't have social media and just rock up and just
hench as fuck.
Hench.
No, you're going to be coming off a European holiday and you're going to be full of Guinness and sangria and paella.
I'll still run laps around you.
You'll go the wrong way, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. I run backwards. At the moment, Jakey, what else has been keeping you busy? How's things? Fill me in.
Everything's really good. Yeah, everything's good. I've been playing a little bit of music. I've been really passionate and engaged in this podcast. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's actually so much fun.
It's so much fun. I love it.
And the coffee shop's been doing really well. And I've been sort of just, knuckling down a bit and trying to focus up, do some frontal lobe based activities.
You have to engage the frontal lobes.
You do.
Yeah.
These ones.
These two little
these
guys
little
right
bad
here.
boys. But yeah, I've just been trying to make some good decisions about my future and, you know, trying to work hard and things like that. And also, like, just seizing the moment with, like, shit like this that we get to do. Like, when I called you after we got word that Didirri was keen to chat with us, like, I FaceTimed you guys. And that was, like, the thrill of, like, getting to sit down with somebody, you know, as
spectacular
as Didirri is, like, you know, why we do this. You know, it's part of the excitement and part of the perks about why we thought we wanted to do it to begin with.
100%.
And yeah, so like I'm just really loving it and putting all my energy into that.
Yeah, oh, that's great, man. And you're absolutely right. The fact that we get to sit down and listen to artists talk and give us their information is a huge part of what I think brings people to this podcast as well. Allegedly.
We'll wait and see.
But yeah, just to understand how people got to where they are in the music industry and to get their feedback. If you want to get good advice on how to make it in whatever your scene is in music, I'm sure that we'll have someone we can talk to that can help get you there. So yeah, we appreciate all our listeners being here to come on that journey with us. And yeah, hopefully you guys learn something, find some entertainment. And yeah,
what are you hoping to get out of the interview
today? Well, I'm
like
really
more broadly.
So with Didirri, I love his music. I love folk. I love his melodies are so unique and beautiful and haunting, and his lyrics take you on a real journey. So I want to ask him about his songwriting process, and I want to ask for advice from him about when he started up, what helped him sort of break the market and find such a well-known name and
find his audience. And especially in like a folk genre, I feel like when he was coming up, it wasn't necessarily the popular genre. There was obviously a following and an audience there, but he found a very sort of mainstream audience amongst a fairly niche kind of genre, which is
totally
like fucking cool as, and for good reason. He's really, really awesome. Like his tone of voice is amazing, and he's and he seems like a lovely guy.
Did you support him once?
I did. I opened for him.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, I didn't get to meet him, and it was that story that I told when I'd just been broken up with. So I was in a shocking mood, and I think I just left and went home.
Oh, was that night?
That was that night.
The slapping the...
yeah, it was. So I have opened for him before, and that was a real privilege. But yeah, this is my first time meeting him, so I'm looking forward to chatting some shit with him.
Sick, awesome. All right, well maybe we should go for a little walk around, say good day to everyone, and see if we can get some people to come for an interview.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Lovely. And then build a whole tour around it. And
well, off the back of that, we've decided we're going to do an album, which will be sick.
Oh, cool.
Sick.
Yeah. Should we? Are you free at the moment to get stuck into some?
I came out. I'm just they're going to be sound checking for a bit.
Yeah, okay.
I think
cool.
wants more to chill.
Sure.
Normally we'd
Oh, nice nails.
Thank you. Dude.
Yeah, they're good.
Did you do them?
No, if I did them, it looks like a toddler did it. There you go.
Thank you.
I went to a lady. It's called Talons in Torquay, and she took about 2 hours to do this. And by the end of it, she looked up from her mask and she was like, "I'm so over this." I'm like, "You poor thing." Like, she had to do 2 layers of like pink, and then with a tiny little brush, she did all like the black checkerboard on every
It looks
line.
great though.
I'm stoked with it. Really
It looks so good.
Really stoked.
We want to do a podcast in there, like maybe.
While we're getting nails done.
That would actually
That
be really
is
good.
really sweet.
That's a great
So like
idea.
the person you're interviewing gets their nails done.
Yeah, or we all get them done.
We're trying to organise this day festival to raise money, and I reckon even having someone there doing nails would be good at it.
That would be
Epic idea. Yeah, I feel like we could definitely get very creative. Like our whole thing with this podcast and what we're really interested in is like community and supporting the music culture, the music community in the Surf Coast and Geelong and beyond.
Sick.
But also where we can, just like local business and just trying to sort of help out, help each other out, I suppose, because I feel like when you're starting off in the music industry and you're sort of just trying to find your way, like you sort of rely on kindness, of other people that maybe have been in it for longer or have something to offer. Did you find that like when you were starting out?
It's like it's a very deeply ingrained part of the music industry. Like even just the support act, the concept of the support act is that. It's like like the artist being like, I think this person's dope. Go check him out.
Check him out.
Yeah.
100%.
and it's literally the only way you know, come up.
Yeah.
Other than paying someone.
When you first started out, I mean, you're so much at the forefront of like the Australian indie folk sound. I'd really like to know about your songwriting process. So you have such sort of beautiful melodies and incredibly engaging lyrics. Like, you're such a storyteller. Would you mind talking to us about when you were first starting out, your songwriting process, and then we'll go into any advice that you have for people trying to break into this scene. How to sort of like go about that at the start of your career, sort of thing.
I guess, like, I've been songwriting my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's probably an exaggeration, but from like very young age.
Yeah.
My dad's a songwriter.
Cool.
And he kind of got me a pen and paper and a guitar when I was a young teenager.
Yeah.
So it was always just like part of my expression. Whether it was going to be a career or not was another question.
Yeah.
But, it was just deeply a part of what I did as a teenager. I was very recluse.
Yeah.
And, I think I didn't identify hugely with community sport.
Yeah.
And that was a huge part of like our culture in Warrnambool.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I just hid in the piano room at school and
became a genius.
just wrote stuff.
Yeah.
But I think my process, it's kind of a very, like, philosophically, it's a very, it's quite a psychedelic experience writing a song, because you're kind of just stumbling around in your brain, just trying to grab onto stuff that just comes to you, which is really weird experience. And I think a lot of people get very put off by that feeling of like not knowing what to do next or where to go. And
or if nothing comes up, like
and it's blocking stuff,
and that I think my advice to people would be like, that is the experience of songwriting, and the experience of getting better at songwriting is noticing that feeling and continuing
working through it,
because it's so easy when that feeling to comes up to be like, I'll put this down and come back to it later, and you don't come back to it later.
Totally.
So recognizing when that inspiration's hitting you and going with that, as opposed to sort of just letting it pass you by.
Totally.
And is there things that you can do to encourage that inspiration, creativity to find that moment? Is there like states you can put yourself in, or ways in which you try to, I guess, manufacture that inspiration?
I think I personally have found it really helpful to, it's about the space that you create in your life to make it, because I think we've been told a lot that it's like inspiration strikes and it's like lightning and it comes over you, and that does happen sometimes, but if you're waiting for just those moments in your life, then you're just kind of hoping that this will come to you. And it's very deeply helpful that my partner is a songwriter, but in where we live, like, our whole house is kind of orientated towards creative acts. Like, I highly recommend leaving instruments out and writing utensils out, because the temptation to just pick up a guitar, if it's there, it's like, I feel like there's a war of like minor inefficiencies that come in. Like, if the guitar is in a case, that's
too much.
It's
too many hurdles.
And it sounds petty, but it really does.
Totally.
It just
even
stops.
The piano lid being closed open. Have it open, just so if you walk past, you might just twinkle on the keys.
And I think people get afraid of like, the guitar or the piano will get dusty. Like, they're worried about the object itself, but it's a tool. Those are tools for creativity. And everybody knows that a drawer is a place where a tool goes to die. Like if it's
That's a quote right there.
Typically my toolbox, my whole toolbox is a graveyard.
If there's a tool at the back of the drawer, it just doesn't exist until you do a deep clean, and then you're like, oh yeah, that thing exists.
Yeah. Oh well, back in the drawer.
And I think the same is said for writing and music, like musical equipment. And I also think that try to write off of your phone as much as possible, because your phone is out to get your attention.
And it's a distraction.
And like that's rote. Everybody knows that. But like so many people are like, oh, there's a notes app on my phone and there's a recording device on my phone. Some of the best songs I've written, I've got a little tape, a cassette recorder.
Love that.
Record on like demos onto that and pen and paper.
It makes it so much easier as well in that situation. Like as you're saying, when you're not feeling that creativity, but you want to work through it, if you have your phone there, you can just be like, I'm just going to go to Instagram and scroll that instead.
And if I'm really harsh on myself and I guess others, I would say that the best songs, the great majority of the time, the best songs are written in one session. Like at least like 80% of the song is done. Like you can work on it a bit. But when you have a good idea and then you don't push through that feeling of like, oh, I'll come back to that. There's just something about the magic of like you're trying to capture a feeling.
The flow state.
You're trying to capture an idea, and coming back to it is more of a tightening, not a...
Well, that's amazing advice for people, I think. Like if you are feeling inspired and you've got the idea, try and finish it or try and get as far along as possible. And then like coming back to it is probably more for the refining process. I absolutely love that and back that 100%. Dom's like, so we're in a band together and we're both songwriters, but we write quite differently. Dom's very much like that. He gets sort of lightning crashes of inspiration, and it almost always, all the good ones or most of the good ones flow out of him almost in the moment. I'm a little bit more like I have to come back to a phrase, or like it takes me longer to like flesh it out for probably a bunch of different reasons. But I think you're definitely right that like there is a certain magic that's captured of a moment in time when, if you're still in that state when it first like kind of hits you.
And I think whatever 80% of finished is to you, like there are a lot of friends of mine that write, good songwriters. I'll use like my friend Lewis Coleman as an example, but Lewis would write, his 80% finished would be like the whole structure of the song is there, the melodies are there, but he's just like rambling random lyrics. I'm the absolute opposite. Like 80% of a song finished to me is words. And then when I get into the studio, we really hash out the musical side of it. But you know what that means to you. Like, you know when you've only done 20% of a song and then put it down and put it in the back of the drawer.
For sure. And, so when you say lyrics come to you, so like 80% of the song will be the words, is that partnered with the melody normally? Like, would you say that melody and lyrics come at the same time, or do you find that you build songs around your lyrics predominantly?
I write a lot of poetry.
Awesome.
And sometimes they become songs. But I won't get stuck on lyrics in that whatever serves the song. Like if something doesn't sing well, I will change a lyric. Absolutely. Like it's got to feel right coming out of my mouth.
Totally. Even just intonation and things.
Like some words just don't, they write well and then they don't translate
I've seen that little video of that song, Tell Me Why. Is it the Backstreet Boys that do that? And they originally...
What a banger. We should get them on the pod.
They're coming on the pod next week. They originally recorded that. I think the lyric wasn't Tell Me Why. It was like, I don't know, Tell a Lie or something like that. And it actually was like, in terms of the narrative, made way more sense to the song. But it just didn't sound as good coming out of their mouth. So they like pushed hard to change that. And eventually obviously did change it. But it's just like something about the syllabic sort of intonation or feel of singing Tell Me Why really works. You know?
And it is funny that like I will reverse engineer a song because a lyric in the chorus changes how it feels.
The aliens are here.
That's your opener. That's pretty sick.
Wow.
Dan
Sounded
Man's
kind
gone.
Yeah,
He's gone
it does.
intergalactic.
he's hacked into the
Should we just
mainframe.
wait for a second?
Yeah.
I'm not sure will the mics be getting that. Declan? Will the mics...
Done now.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll get that.
Woof.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what we were talking about.
So the space.
Oh
got
yeah,
away.
if like a common experience will be I'll write a song and then the chorus or the most integral part of the song will change in some way, and then I'll have to go back and address the verses so that they match narratively what is being said.
Yeah.
It's really helpful that I have a partner who's a songwriter.
Yeah.
But
How long
I
have you
think
guys been together?
nearly 9 years now.
Oh, I love love.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
It's very nice.
As two loveless boys, we're very
It was
What's the secret?
yeah, what's it like?
what is the secret? I don't. Yeah, assume each other's best intentions.
That
Yeah.
you heard it here first. That's
Sorry, three loveless boys. That is
That is
great,
beautiful.
though.
That's poetry.
wonderful. And have you been working together the whole time as well and writing together?
So that's developed over years. Like, I very much had an attitude, and so did she, when we first started dating, that we, like, these are my songs. Don't touch them.
yeah.
And then it just slowly happened. I think that's also indicative of like where I was at as a songwriter. I think really early on, I think it's good advice to say ignore what people are, like people's opinions of what you're doing. But I think there's a small caveat, and I think that is find artists that you trust their opinion and take those opinions really seriously and ignore everyone else.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in like everyone and their dad has a opinion about your music.
Yeah.
And if you take it all on, you will make the most boring
100%.
stuff possible, because it'll be an aggregate of like what everyone thinks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you find like a few people that you think are doing top shit that you love, and you're lucky enough to be friends with them, like take their advice
Capitalise
really
on that.
seriously, and you will make better stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like we find like what we've discovered, because we've been best friends for 15 years and I've only been playing and writing together for about 2 or 3 and because we were busy for the first term but we've really found that we are not the equal sum of our parts. We are actually stronger as a unit, you know, both performance and writing, and there's probably very few people that is true for, but you know, like recognizing where like somebody complements maybe somewhere that you struggle, or vice versa, or that is just able to like knows you well enough to know when to give you the feedback, how to give you the feedback.
And it's also how feedback is said. Like, I work with this guy, Rob Munoz, who made my last record, and I'm working on more music with him now.
Cool.
We made No Cure for Love. He worked on...
We'll
pull that up,
We'll put a little link up.
He's amazing. Rob Munoz at
Is he in Melbourne?
the Rat Shack in Melbourne.
Awesome.
And what struck me about working with him, I worked with a lot of producers over the years, and he was the first person that pushed me really hard, which I valued.
Yeah.
But he pushes in this way of, he'll point at a lyric or at a moment, and instead of saying his opinion, he will say his opinion, but he'll say it in a way that is like, do you believe in that lyric? Or how does that feel for you? And in saying that, he is saying, I'm not necessarily connecting to that. But he's asking you as an artist, like, and if you can get to a place where you're honest in that answer and not defensive,
Totally.
man, like that was the first record. Like, I've made lots of records, and everybody looks back at their work with different eyes, and they're all just like moments in my life, so I don't judge it too hard. But that record, Caught in the Act, the last one, I can look at every lyric and stand by it because he did
checked.
that.
Yeah.
And back to that temptation of like walking away from stuff. There's a temptation to be like, that's enough, that's fine.
But
But then you have to play that song hundreds and hundreds of times, and every time that bit comes up,
you think about,
you're like, I could have done that better, or I'm still not connecting to that. And I would just encourage you. It's a small amount of effort. And it feels like you run the risk of like going into a perfectionist mindset, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like getting neurotic to the point of not putting stuff out.
Being open to change, and like especially with that communication with other people and collaboration with your producer or your friend, valuing that communication and realizing, well, actually maybe there is something different here that could.
And dropping the ego a little bit as well, and going, like as you say, if you trust somebody and they're there for a reason, to go like, okay, like this is another set of eyes on my work, and there's every possibility that they're seeing or hearing something that I'm not. And I think that's proven as you record more and things like that. You kind of like almost always notes that I've had about my vocals or whatever, I'll almost always, I look back and go, thank God somebody told me to sing softer there or whatever it might be. But in the moment, there's definitely a defensiveness that goes like, I'm the singer or whatever, or I'm the songwriter. I would know what to do, but it's just not the case. And I think that like that's forever something that I'll probably try and work on, is just like letting the ego drop as much as possible.
I think what I can say there in terms of advice is be really, really really strict about who is allowed to be in the room when you're creating music. But then once you've signed on the dotted line being like, these brains in this room are making this music, take every essence of ego that you have and throw it out the door and trust those people.
That is such sound advice.
When you can feel it when someone's in the room, it shouldn't be there because there hasn't been this sort of idea that like these are the people that I really want to know what they like. We're collaborating with these brains. You can feel it, and that's when you're right to have an ego and be like, shut up, you've been invited into this space just to see what's going on. But when I just more and more, I'm like, less people in the studio and more of just the people that
the trusted people
that sort of compliment you.
I think you'd achieve so much more as well. Like you'd be working so much more efficiently. And like especially when it's your career. Like you need to really capitalize on the time that you have with those people. And I think we've talked a lot in this podcast about the value of communication. It's like in any job you have, really, like the people you're working with, the people that you need to be able to speak so openly with and communicate so purely with, and it holds so much weight in such a vulnerable space, like when like music is vulnerable, it's exposing yourself. And it's like opening yourself up to all sorts of criticism or ideas and opinions. So your advice there is incredibly sound, and I think people will really benefit from that, is having that space for the people that you trust and that you can communicate clearly with.
And I guess just look at yourself in I've worked with lots of talented musicians over the years. It's being in a band's a very different kettle of fish than what I do, but I'm kind of leaning more and more into the collaboration side of what I do.
Amazing.
But that's come from witnessing, like, I want a bass player who's obsessed with what the drummer's doing, and a drummer who's obsessed with what the keyboard player's doing, and a keyboard player who's like having a look at the vocals. And what you're describing there, where like that moment where someone says, oh, can you sing this a little differently, and the defensive comes in, you're saying, this is my instrument and I'm in charge of it. Whereas you're making music together, and like in a dream world, you're not even thinking about what you're doing, you're just like trusting that everyone else is going to tell you. You've done the work before you got into the studio to be good at what you do. And then I want to get stuck into like the snare sound. And I want the drummer to be like.
And how fun is it? Like,
it's great
when you're all just in the pocket and you're like, you're riffing and vibing.
But it really just takes one person for flow. Like
sure.
To
you
cock
want
it all up.
you want everyone to be pushing like that for that 1%.
Yeah.
But you're right, you need that fundamental layer of trust with everyone in the room. It's like either your band or whoever you're working with, the producer or whatever, we're saying like, okay, at this point, we are going to respect each other's opinions, we're going to listen to each other, and we're hopefully going to like improve each other's parts,
Yeah.
you know? But you need to be able to, like, there's absolutely no point in having someone who you don't know that well, you don't know if their opinion is in line with yours, if they've got the same goals or whatever. It needs to be like, as you say, almost a unspoken or spoken agreement where it's like, you know, this is the deal, you're in here because I value you and I think you can bring something to this record.
Which is why, you know, this is getting into maybe a bit of nitty gritty in terms of industry, but
Please do.
Yeah, let's do it.
if you are at all getting into like a label situation or getting more deeply into the industry,
Yeah.
I am personally of the opinion that other people organising co-writes is a terrible idea.
Okay.
Because of that very reason.
Yeah.
Because you're throwing people in together and potentially just wasting a whole day.
Yeah.
Like, you're an artist, you like music, you can decide who to collaborate with.
Totally.
And there's a difference between, like, if someone's like, I don't know anyone in this area, like, I'm in Melbourne for the first time, I want to meet people and collaborate. Just spend 6 months going to a shit ton of gigs.
Yeah.
And don't, like, it sounds, I'm not dissing anyone's work because we need labels and they're really good at what they do, but they're not the artists.
Yeah.
And the artists, like, you should just put places where they can commingle.
Totally.
And they will work that shit out themselves.
Yeah.
Even going to a party with people who make music, you
Yeah.
will gel with people and you'll be like,
Totally.
that person.
Yeah.
100%, which is often like as important as like stylistically what their music is like. So it's like,
Well, they come hand in hand a lot of the time.
a lot of the time, but you know, you meet someone and you go like, I've seen you play live, I love what you do, and you know, maybe I can sort of see that stylistically we might be a good pair, but I can tell already that we either will or won't collaborate well, just from a more social perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then occasionally you meet people, like we toured with the Terrys last year, met the Terrys, got along so well with them that like almost straight away we were like, we need to write together, because we were at a party playing, you know, guitar, and we just found that that was happening really naturally. And I think that's how all the good stuff is born. You know? Yeah.
And it's, you know, it sounds really intense, but you only get like a limited amount of days to be alive. So
totally.
like
Going
on blind dates with artists, I don't think it's the most efficient. I don't think it's the most efficient way to do that. Yeah. Like, I just think trust your gut more than that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. Yeah.
In your experience, do labels and management and other like industry structures that you've worked with, do they respect that and allow you to have that right to choose and who you collaborate with? Or have you found, you don't have to comment on this, or we can cut it out, but like, have you found that people to be pushy coming from the industry side and you felt uncomfortable or anything like that?
I think I would say that they're all just people. And I think the whole idea of the music industry is a bit of a farce, because it's not an industry, it's a massive group. Well, there's the live side of things and recording, like the things that you need to put on shows and record music. That's an industry. But everyone putting out records is a small business operating in isolation, pretty much. Like, it's pretty rare for them to, they're kind of in competition with each other most of the time. And I think it just, trust your gut on the people that are working for you and with you. I have definitely had uncomfortable relationships. I've changed partners and things. Some of them have ended in really good ways, some of them have ended in not so good ways. And it is a fine little funny balance that you find yourself in, because my booking agent, who's worked with me since I was busking, he just sat me down straight away and was like, hey, like, it's going to seem like it's some kind of different system, but at the end of the day, people are working for you, and they're involved because they think that what you do is good. And you've got to get a backbone really quickly, because you go from this situation where you're hanging out with you guys, with each other, and there's an assumption there that that we're all on some kind of equal footing. And then you go into a situation where you're a boss
totally.
of a business, and that that's not what any of us signed up for. You are literally it.
And the product and the boss.
There's so many pressures on that.
It ends when you end it, and it's fascinating seeing. There's a really great interview with Lauren Hill that I'll find and send to you. But
that'd be great.
We'll get Jamie to pull that right up.
We'll pull it up.
Jamie, like
right
from the Joe
there.
Rogan Experience, even though it's not his name, it started on episode 1. So if you need anything done, you just ask Jamie to pull it up.
Jamie will put it right here. She would just say, like, there's all these ideas of, like, that's the standard approach for doing stuff. But art is genuinely about breaking the standard model. Like that, you have to do things the way that you do them. And that doesn't mean being mean or rude or whatever. It just means being confident and being like... Lauren Hill would say, people thought I was crazy not putting a record out for like 5 years. Because people were like, time's ticking, we got to keep the momentum going. And then she put out the biggest record she'd ever put out. And she just said it was because I needed to go experience some things so I could then react to it. And no industry is ever going to understand that, because art is quite the opposite process to industry. It's not. If someone took 5 years off their plumbing industry, someone else would come in and take that space. And that's great.
There's only one of you, like, individual artist.
And it's not a process that is... so like clear cut,
or synthetic. Like you can't force, if you want the product to be good and what you've sort of why you've got involved with the artist, you know, if you want it to be as good as it can be, it doesn't really fit with a calendar schedule like you want it to if you're from the industry perspective.
It's good to have like your foot on the gas once things are going, like as in don't dilly-daddle. I think a lot of people, you know, get caught up in an album having to represent them forever. But I think just view what you're doing as like a moment in time and try and capture it as best you can, and then move on. Because like, it just has to represent you for now, not forever.
Sure. And that's what music and art is. I mean, speaking personally, but also generally, I feel like the songs that you create in a certain time are a reflection of what's been happening to you. And so as you move forwards, like each project will probably change, but it's not going to be due to external pressure of someone telling you it has to happen. It's healthier if it's from a place of whatever it is that you're experiencing.
Just organic sort of growth, or, you know, something that was not intentional, but actually a byproduct of just being alive and having experience and growing as a musician or a performer.
Nobody, like, the only feeling that your fans or audience will get from you not putting something out for a while is, I wonder what they've been up to. And that's not a bad thing. That's like, that is just curiosity for their life. But you're getting on with experiencing things. I think, it's a funny thing, that whole concept of momentum. Momentum sucks if you put out something that's rushed and not inspiring to you.
Agreed.
So everyone, like, nobody wins there.
Our album's taken 2 years more now.
To record, and it's just been sitting there waiting for the release because heaps of different things have happened with our band.
Yeah.
People have left, and all that sort of stuff.
I totally get. Yeah, stuff gets in the way.
And instead of releasing it because we feel as though the fans want to see it, or because we're itchy to get it out there, which we are, I think the right thing to do is to take your time on it, do it when it feels right, and do it when you can back it up with all the things it deserves, like a tour,
and then keep writing in the meantime too. We've got another album's worth of music sitting there now. From the period of time that we've had over the past 6 months or a year.
And it's a slow process putting stuff out. Here's the most succinct way I can put it. Make the art, then make the plan.
Yeah, love that. Sound advice again.
People put the horse before the cart way too often. They go, okay, we've got a tour coming up, or we've got a show planned, so we better put a single out for that tour and that show. And that sounds good on paper. It doesn't get you good places.
Yeah, and should be the other way around. It's like the art's done, we're happy with it. Now what's the plan around that? Yeah. How involved are you in that second part of that process, the plan after the art?
Highly involved now. I run a record label.
Oh,
with,
cool.
My friend.
Yeah. What's the label called?
Beloved Records.
Oh, awesome.
Is that with David? Is he?
Yep.
Cool.
So we put out Roey's last record on that. But more and more deeply involved.
Yeah.
But that's mostly because I think it's a spicy hot take, but our industry is flailing and really trying to understand what it does in the modern time.
Yeah.
And
big changes happening.
Huge changes. Yeah. And I have worked with bigger labels, major labels, and they're really good at what they do, but they're kind of like the Titanic in that it's really hard to turn the ship fast.
Yeah.
And I've found working with smaller, more on-the-ground labels has just... Man, I can connect with fans a lot quicker and react to things better.
Wonderful.
That's
so sick.
That's fantastic. And just quickly, you are about to go on tour. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Where are you playing? What are the shows?
You're going to rack my memory here. But
Queenscliff Music Festival will be one of them.
Queenscliff.
Oh, yes.
Queenscliff and Townsfolk both just got announced.
Cool.
Which will be awesome.
That's so exciting.
Congratulations. That'll be heaps of fun.
Yeah. It's going to be great. Roey and I have made a 90-minute set that's half my music, half hers.
Epic.
With one big band.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really cool. We're tossing out. We're in rehearsals at the moment. We still haven't quite decided, but we might be covering each other's songs at times.
Yeah. How often do you rehearse? Just briefly, sorry.
For an album,
I
really believe in writing in the studio with the album, with the band. So the demos that I send the band are very stripped back, even though I might record more production-based demos earlier. What I actually send to the musicians comes back to what we were talking about before. I want to see how their brains react to a song in the moment.
Totally.
So
you get a lot out of that,
yes.
I reckon. Yeah.
So not much in terms of album, but for a tour, like once a week for a month or so.
Awesome.
And then probably twice the week of.
Yeah.
And then we change stuff. We usually have mid-tour rehearsals because sometimes you just get on stage and some things don't work. And
not working.
You just...
Adjusting as you go.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, part of every performer's goal, I guess, is to read a room, and it's harder to do when you've got a band with you, but you still can. You can go, okay, this bit worked really awesome, or would it work if we tried this song to open, or whatever. It also keeps things fresh for you as a performer, I suppose, as well.
And I love stagecraft. It's a big part of my love for music.
There's so much value in it, as a consumer.
Yeah, I don't really understand why it gets not much effort put into it a lot of the time. Like, people kind of go, we've written the songs and now we'll just perform them.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can do so much more than that.
Totally.
With a stage performance.
Yeah, and you've got the opportunity there to really like connect with people in a way that you never will through a record.
Yeah.
You know, if you give them like a show that they're really like blown away by and feel really like close to and touched by, like I know for me as a consumer, those are the bands that I then like go on to follow and to be really obsessed with, because they've touched my heart like live, and then I look through their back catalogue.
It's like the single and the live performance are the gateway drug into your music.
Yeah.
And that's how I view it. Like,
It's cool.
The amount of times I've listened to a whole album and not super connected to it, and then Bon Iver was a great example.
That's my favourite.
The 22 a Million record.
Yeah.
I bounced off of it the first time I listened to it. It was like, yep, don't really get this.
Yeah.
And then saw a live performance of them and
Yeah.
was just like, oh, and then it became
Totally.
Yeah,
So
I've
the
done that
record.
with Bon Iver as well with with Heavenly Father. He performs that live at Sydney Opera House with a
I was there for
choir
that.
around him. You were there for it, and like that recorded song, that single Heavenly Father, it went completely under my radar, and then I fell in love with that live performance, and now I realise that the song is absolutely fantastic.
Let's get a Didirri Bon Iver collab happening.
Lovely. You can also get that with covers, I find, as well. Like, you can hear somebody do a cover of an artist that you might not be that interested in, and then you see the quality of the song.
Yeah, I was brought to, like, I still don't listen to Neil Young much, but yeah, it's so clear that he's a masterful songwriter.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of times I've heard someone cover a song and really deeply understood the song and just been like, wow, okay, yep, very,
now.
like, really, really skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craftsman.
Neil Young's one of my all-time favourites.
It's amazing. But sometimes they're not the best at delivering whatever their craft is, you know? Like, sometimes you can, or maybe not the best, but like to somebody's taste, you know? You can find a way into Green Day through Didirri, for example. Good segue there, boys and girls.
Yeah. We'll have Green Day on next week.
But, you know, if you are more like partial to folk music and slower ballads and things, the cover that you did for Like a Version would be like a really good example of like, oh, Green Day are awesome, by the way.
Yeah. I love that platform.
Yeah. The Like a Version.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's just such a funny, like, so deeply part of the Australian culture.
Yeah.
And it's been
around for a while.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's the biggest expose of an artist, in my opinion. Like, because it combines...
Can you do this?
Can you do this?
Yeah,
and it combines so many different like aspects, like the fact you get to choose the song and you can do a complete flip of a genre and make it your own.
It's almost like a benchmark in my mind for like
one day,
success.
Boy.
100%.
One day we'll get there.
It's definitely in our goals, you know. We wrote it down goals very early on, and like Triple J Like a Version was one of them, because for those reasons, you know.
I better head off.
Yeah, sound
all
check.
good. Hey, thank you so much for joining
You're welcome.
us.
Thank you so much. You're an absolute poet with your words. I reckon there's some quotable lines in there that we'll use,
100%.
and we'll pull up your
Thank
tour
you
dates.
very much.
We appreciate you so much, man. You're an inspiration. Your music is beautiful, and yeah, best of luck on the tour.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very
We're looking
much.
forward to hearing you. Are we going to stick around and listen to some music?
I didn't get a ticket. It sold out, but we'll figure something out. Awesome. Thanks,
Is this
guys.
a
Thanks for
magnet?
joining us.
It's pretty good.